There. You're live. Where's my phone?
What do I do? Go to playlist? Channel?
Right now I have it.
Where is it? Well, find it on here.
Alright.
Is that better? Ooh, you can see now, can't you? Hey.
Whoa. You just moved it from the table. I had it perfect here. The lighting was good.
I just focused it better though.
Not over here. That is up. Higher. Yes, it's up. Higher. Higher. I can't get it.
That's okay.
That's why I didn't touch it ever after I got it focused.
It's all coming across the internet. He's live feeding. I shouldn't sit here because I talk too much and then people yell at me for talking and it comes across there. That's what I would think. Okay, so where? How do I find your link?
That's it, right there.
I know, but how do I? Oh, here we go.
Oh, I can share it. I'm posting it to Facebook.
Okay, here's the actual link. If you want to go text it, I'll go text it. You go text it to him and he can forward it.
Oh, I'm in the middle of something. It'll be just a sec.
Oh, I lost it. The video has been removed by the user. You spelled forum wrong.
No, I did.
Yeah, you did.
Where?
Above the test. F-O.
F-O-U-R.
I know, it says F-U.
F-U.
It's F-O-R.
That's what I meant. That's on here, right here.
Okay, well, I must have lost it somewhere.
My phone doesn't work, so you off this here. No, go to Facebook. Just again. Share. I'm sharing the post really quick.
Okay.
What the crap? Oh, share now. What? Share it.
Here, I can do that now.
Alright, share it to the group. It said you just shared my link with that, so I just said share now.
That's fine. Where is it? Did you copy it? Did you copy it?
No, I clicked on the video.
Okay. Right here.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to copy.
I shared the video.
Copy link.
Oh, you got a notification that I shared?
I need to get in there. You need to share that on the.
Huh?
If somebody wanted to watch this, where would they get information?
What is your phone number?
I'm 589-1989, but I mean, I'm talking somebody couldn't make it.
I will text it to you, and you can text them the link.
589-1989.
1980.
Oh, wow. How'd you do that so fast?
Like Dan's in Arkansas.
Yeah,
He really wanted
he can hear it. We don't have the best camera yet,
voice.
but you will be able to hear everything. It's not as clear as it should be. We have a camera, we just haven't.
Did she share it?
Missing a piece. She's watching.
Oh, sweet.
Zoom. It is what it is for right now. You can. The audio will work really well. Like they can hear me right now. You can forward it. Do you know how to do that?
My text. That's my like mistake, girls final forecast. They made the final four.
Yep.
Yeah, I was so excited. Well, you're hitting the link.
Should be able to hold it down.
I just
Any more?
Oh, right here.
Is it there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Each phone is a little bit different, so. Justin, post that on the free classified so that people can
I
find
don't
it.
know how.
You just
Because
copy
on
your
my
link.
phone isn't working because I can't share it to
Oh,
anyone.
okay.
And my phone is almost dead too.
I'll take care of that.
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I haven't given up the hoodie.
I can log in. I'll give you a hug. I better go say hi to Dave, Justin.
I'm trying not to.
Hey, that's my step. Go. Good job. That's my brother. We can kick him out. OPD. OPD. Phil, will you post that to the free classifieds and stuff? I can get it on there. Will you post that to free classifieds? It's on Justin's profile. Oh, maybe I did. Yes, Leslie, that was Phil's bald head. got it on there. Nope, you're good. Huh? It's the glare. Hey, share that link so people can find it. There's a bunch more chairs.
Over there.
What?
Welcome, everybody. If I can get Melanie Harrison. I'm the Executive Director of the Harney County Chamber of Commerce. And I thank everybody for being here this evening. And I thank all the candidates for coming and joining us also this evening. So thank you very much. So we have a lot to get through, so we're going to go ahead and just get started. Each of the candidates, you will have, I'm going to sit down now. The people behind you can see. You will have a 2-minute opener, and then we will have a handful of questions, and you will get a 2-minute limit for each to answer each one of the questions. I will be very strict on your time limit, so please be prepared because I am comfortable coming and grabbing the microphone from you. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and, because the microphone is over here to the side, we unfortunately only have one. So we'll be tapped, so as soon as your time limit is up, please tap it to the next person so they can start. Okay? So, please, Herb, would you please start with your 2-minute opener?
Okay, I'm Herb Lordman. I'm a write-in candidate for the county judge position. Following my meeting with the Secretary of State, I received an email from her office that includes the following comment, in quotation. In response to your question, there appears to be no prohibition on your running a write-in campaign. A person can run as a write-in candidate during the May primary election, the November general election, or both. As we discussed, there will be a major on the November general election ballot that would repeal the age limit in the Constitution. If you were to win the November election as a write-in, and if the major were to pass and repeal the age limit, then it is more than likely that you could accept the position at that point. That was from the Deputy Secretary of State, Taylor. Okay, now I'm going to give you a little bit of my background. I'm a self-employed business owner and an EMT. I hope I didn't rough any of you up when I went out if I had to help somebody in your area. I'm a retired commercial hay grower, former regional manager for sales of a large electrical equipment company, served in the U.S. Navy submarine service, and worked as a logger in Eastern Oregon. I have a master's in business administration and a bachelor in electric power, both from OSU, and I graduated over the hill from Pilot Rock High School. I served
30-second warning.
What was that? Oh, I served on the Harney County Court Budget Board, not at present. Economic development is one of my first goals. This covers all of our counties from retail, service to agriculture. I ask you for your write-in vote, Herb Lordman. Back here, you can ask him. He said you didn't have to spell Lordman perfect. I think my kids were in high school before they got it down, but they did learn. Anyway.
Hi, my name is Anna Jo Sturber, and I'm running for county judge this year. I moved to Burns, Oregon about 8 years ago, and my grandparents needed some assistance, and that's what brought me here. Family is very important to me. Over the past couple months, I've decided that I wanted to get involved in my community government. And so in that decision to become qualified, I decided to run for public office. And I don't have a whole lot to tell you about what I've done or what I plan on doing, but I do intend on asking questions from you and getting input from the community to decide what we're going to do in county if I'm elected. So I thank you for inviting me here tonight, and we'll just have a discussion and see what you guys think. Thank you.
My name is Tom Schaefer. I have family that was born and raised and grew up in Harney County for a long time. I myself grew up in South Dakota, moved back here in 1989, finished high school at Crane, calculated around the Great Basin, mostly in Nevada, but here in Harney County too. After that, I came back here, worked in a Juniper Ranch, came to the Harney County Fair, met my lovely wife, and we've been permanent residents of the Druzy area ever since. And I decided over the last few months that I needed to get involved in what's going on in our community and in our country as a whole. And that is why I decided that I was going to run for judge. And I invite your questions, and that's what I have answers for you. Is red correct? Oh. Hey, I'm Pete Reynolds. I'm running for the office of Harney County Judge. Thank you all for coming out. Most all of you know I'm from here, born and raised for many years. This is probably the toughest job interview a person's ever had. You don't have to convince two or three, you got to convince the county. I've had many years budget experience, many years budget board experience, board experience on different various boards. I have flyers over here on the table that list all my activities. The judge responsibility, the judge is the chief financial officer. I will do everything in my power to make sure that this county stays sound, whole, and survives into the future. We're in good shape now. We've never been in debt. I would keep it that way. I would vision changes coming our way that would benefit us economically, also in businesses, bringing new business to town, encourage them with part of the county 15 services that we provide, there's many of those that touch on economic development. You've got to be looking ahead, you've got to be a visionary, and you've got to be a task manager and organized. I've listened, learned, and experienced a lot in the last 6 years, and I'd like to carry that forward. I think the institutional knowledge is worth a lot. A couple of years training, that's only steps back to county. Thank you.
I'm Fort Katie, and I'm running for Harney County Judge. I grew up in a small farm in Hillsboro, Oregon. Went to Glencoe High School and then Portland State. I've worked in a variety of different industries. Majority of my time I spent working at Coca-Cola for about 15 years all across the country in different capacities as far as management and sales. I've also, besides being in the corporate world, owned several businesses and several properties that I've had to renovate in different degrees. Of all the things that I've done, probably the most important thing that I've done was meeting my wife, Jennifer, and having our 3 boys. I've been in Harney County for about 6 years in total. This is our second time here. Some of you might know that we had Big Bear a couple times. That was fun. And then we just got through, or within days of getting through renovating a building on Broadway. The reason I'm running for judge is pretty simple. I want to see prosperity come back to this county. Going through what we've gone through with our building on Broadway and the hurdles that we've had to overcome and the hurdles that I've seen other people have to overcome or not be able to overcome, I'd like to see some of those hurdles go away, and I'd like to see prosperity come back. So I want to see economic development, I want to see prosperity, and I want to see our agricultural community supported and strengthened. I thank you for your support, and if you have any questions for me, I'll tell you this right up front, and some of you might not like it. I'm not a big fan of Facebook, so if you have questions for me, you can give me a call, or we can talk face to face at any time.
Good evening, I'm Shauna Lippy, and I'm running for Harney County Commissioner. I've lived in Harney County for 30 years. You might know me as the OSU Extension Agent. I'm responsible for the 4-H program and the Home Economics program. I have several degrees. My master's is in home economics and consumer education with an emphasis in international economics. We don't use that a lot in Harney County, but I have spent some of my career working overseas in rural development as well. Harney County is my home. I grew up on a small ranch in northern Montana where we raised hay, sheep, cattle. And my husband Jim and I have raised our 4 children here in Harney County, and they are now almost grown. The last one will graduate from college in June. So that's an exciting time in my career as I look for something new to do after spending 30 years working for Oregon State University. I'm looking for a change, and I feel like I have the skills that would be needed to serve on the commission for Harney County. I have a strong financial background and have served on many boards and budgetary boards here in the county. I served on the City of Burns Budget Board. I currently serve on the hospital board. I'm the treasurer and on the financial committee there as well. When I look at things that I'm most interested in Harney County, I think that economics is always important. Education is very important to me, and I think educating our children is a very important thing. And the third thing is we have to have quality health care. If we don't have quality health care in Harney County, we'll never make it to the big hospital. So those are the 3 things that I think are most important to help us continue to enjoy our lives here in Harney County.
Good evening. Thank you for coming tonight. My name is Mark Owens. I lived in Harney County for the last 23 years. I first came to Harney County to work as a ranch hand outside of Crane, Oregon. While working as a ranch hand, I met my beautiful wife, Celeste, and got married. Shortly after we got married, we decided to buy our own farm. We bought a farm out in Gallo Valley through some creative financing and a lot of hard work. While farming in Gallo Valley, we were blessed with our first daughter, Kenna. Shortly after Kenna was born, we were continuing to farm in Gallo Valley. We decided we'd like to move back closer to Crane for Celeste to school. We sold the farm in Gallo Valley and bought a farm right outside of Crane, where we currently farm the place we call home. Shortly after moving back to Crane, we were blessed with our second child, Trapper. Since moving back to Crane, I decided to get more involved with county government and politics. Currently, I'm the chairman of the Crane Union High School Board. I'm on the Planning Commission of Harney County, Crane Cemetery Board. Most recently, I've been working on the Resource Advisory Commission for the Watershed Council for watershed from Malheur Basin from the groundwater tanks that are affecting us today. And also on the Harney County Watershed Council. Eastern Oregon and Harney County specifically has allowed my family to live in American dream. That's why I decided to run for county commissioner, to give back to the community that has done so much to me. Currently, I believe we need a fresh perspective, some fresh ideas in the county government from a qualified candidate. Thank you for your consideration.
I'm Dan Nichols, and I guess the primary question is why are you running again? I decided last year that I would run again. After the course of things this winter and the positive things that are happening in this community, and there are many, many positive things going on in Harney County that have been for a number of years. We have opportunities to strengthen a lot of the work that's been done. We've made new contacts. There has been a lot of work done in the past 10, 15 years. There's been a lot of positive changes. We have, as I said earlier, the opportunity to continue with those positive changes. So this community believes 2/3 of the county court in one fell swoop. I've been asked by a lot of people to run again, and I said no, I wasn't going to. It's time to let somebody else have a shot at it. The day of the filing, I decided about noon. Things have changed that day once again. And I've been thinking it isn't fair to this community to just leave 2/3 in new county court. It's too important what's going on. It seemed kind of selfish to me, so I decided to run again, leave it up to the people of this community, how rapidly change they want. I have thought hard about it. I didn't file until 5 till 5, the evening of the closing, partly because we had commitment. Would appreciate your support. Thank you. Good evening, Harney County. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rob Frank, and I want to represent you as Harney County Commissioner. It's my understanding that there's not going to be much audience interaction tonight, so if you'd indulge me for a moment by a show of hands, how many people don't want to see any changes in Harney County? How many people want to see positive change? Raise your hand. I do too. I'm not a big fan of change, but I understand that change is inevitable, and the only thing that we can dictate is our actions that decide whether or not that change is going to be negative or positive. I was born and raised in Lake County. I moved to Crane over 10 years ago and taught ag there for 5 years, and Harney County has been my home ever since. I have a long resume of accomplishments and credentials and accolades that I can go in depth with after this if you want to hear them, but I realize more all the time that labels and titles really don't mean that much. What does matter is what a person can or will do and what they won't. I believe strongly in local governments in every aspect that affects our lives directly in Harney County. My main concerns are economy and education. We need to create real jobs, and the only way I see to do so is to utilize our natural resource systems in a fashion that has been proven sustainable economically, environmentally, and sociologically, and also actively solicit business and industry that we feel is a good fit for our community. If we generate honest wealth, there'll be more resources for our schools so that our youth enters the world with the tools they need to succeed. I want to empower government at every level to do what we've entrusted them to do, protect our rights. Governments and their officials have the responsibility to use their authority in our best interest and to be held accountable when they do not. I hope that all of us share a common goal of a better Harney County in this room, but I believe we have to be unified to accomplish that. County government is the surest way that I know of to see that our needs are met, because no one knows what we need better than us. If you support positive change, please support me with your vote for Harney County Commissioner. Thank you.
My name is Barbara Kennedy, and I am running for County Commissioner. We have a handout on the table, or there was some in the chairs that deals with my background, and I've worked in or with government most of my life. I did run a construction company for 13 years and was a partner in a construction company for 5 years before that. But I wanted more time to talk about issues. I have attended the county court meetings for the last 9 years and the budget board meetings for the last 3 years. And if many of you recognize my name as being with the Fizzle Flat blog, we had over 7,200 readers with that blog before I curtailed it because of issues with CenturyTel and landline. But at any rate, I am now writing a lot of letters to the editor for the Williams Times Herald, and we discussed such things as the collaboration, general law form of government, and the title of judge, where it comes from and why, and the impact of administrative rules. A friend of mine recently said to me, I use presentations that you give, all I want to hear about is sunshine and daisies. I don't want to hear anything else. And I like to put sunshine on the things because it's antibacterial, and I feel like we have to recognize our issues if we're going to deal with them. So here's some sunshine. We did receive our rural school funds last week, which were not expected, and that budget, 75% goes to the road department, 25% to the schools. That's $1.4 million, and we're waiting to see about the PILT funds. We do have a water resources meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m., or excuse me, at 10 a.m. at the Pittsburgh, at the chamber office. Well, anyway, we have a lot of things to do with the county comprehensive plan. Thank you.
All right, so this one, everybody will answer at the same time. So this one is, please raise your hand if you have ever served on an elected board. Thank you. Please raise your hand if you have ever managed a budget $1 million or more. Thank you. So now to start with our first question for responses is, please describe your understanding about the authority of the county court in regards to governance over the county.
Okay, just 2 minutes. Oh, I see. Okay. Well, the county court is a taxing district and also the governing body that oversees different boards for the county. And is the general governing body for those areas that are not city and or incorporated city. It generally handles the day-to-day duties. It collects the taxes, allows for the administrative duties of planning, and reacts to all of the federal and state issues that come to it. It's all of it.
As I'm sure most everyone knows, I believe there's 6 counties in Oregon that have a probate court system similar to ours, and the rest are home rule. So according to the Oregon Constitution, we have a judge and 2 commissioners. Because we're that sort of setup, we run off the Oregon Constitution instead of a charter, and we handle all of the concerns for the county that come down to from the state or federal level, as the candidate said. One of the biggest ways they do that is through the budget, because through the allocation of funds, you can control which programs are more powerful or pull some back. And while they can't supersede any federal or state legislation, I think that there are a lot of ways that the county court can exert an influence to make sure that the concerns of the county are upheld.
County government is basically the duties of the administration of the county. We are the ones that are involved with the federal land, the federal agencies. We oversee several departments within the county. The budget is the big authority, but because of the funding streams, the silos they come down to, there isn't the latitude of dispensing dollars here and there. I've heard a lot of talk about the county taking over federal land. I did do a very cursory assessment of that to run the school, the road department, the county courthouse, which includes the sheriff's department and the DA's department, and the road district. Those 4 entities, that doesn't include the rest of it. There would have to be a generation of 10 times more revenue in this community. $77 million to run those 4 entities. Last I heard, the gross product of the county was $93 million. That does not leave many dollars left over for all of you to exist. The county government structure is much more complicated than what people seem to think that it is. There are many, many more sacraments than what people think there is. It's an eye-opener to be involved. Things are not perfect, but I can tell you this is a positively run county, and we hope to keep it going that way into the future.
County government, what I believe county government is. I believe the county commissioners, the police commissioners, the chief judge are the ones that adopt the budget and approve the budget. And the budget is for the vital services offered to the community. Those vital services, I believe, are health and human services, public safety, natural resource and recreation, transportation and land use, and other community services. Health and human services is like the health department that we have. Public safety, of course, would be the sheriff, the jail, and roads. Natural resource and recreation would be soil and water conservation. Transportation and land use, of course, would be the county's road department. Other community services would be i.e. taxation, election, and library. I believe the main focus of the county government is to control the county budget and offer those vital services that we need. The state mandates many vital services that we need, and the county is the ones that have to give those to the county. County government is the closest form of county government to the people, or government to the people, which gives us the unique opportunity
to have social interaction and daily interaction with community members, allowing us to listen to your ideas and suggestions and implement them in the building.
Thank you. Just wanted to make sure I actually answered the question specifically. The county court has a judge and 2 commissioners, and their main object is to administer the budget and to fund the services that the county requires. Certain services are mandated by laws from the federal government as well as the state government. We do have certain departments within the county that we fund. The biggest monetary ones are public safety, which is the sheriff's office and the road department. They also are responsible for many other services. They provided the budget for the extension service where I've worked for the past 30 years. They also have some mandates that are involved with preschool education, health department, and some of the taxation within the county, special taxation like parks and rec and those kinds of things. I think the commission's job is to listen to the people, to keep us financially solvent, and to try to provide as many services for you, the community, as we can, and to keep us in the black, never go into the red.
So you've heard a lot about, the different structures of the county government. Let me take a different spin on it. I believe that the county government their job is the safety and well-being of the people who live, work, and visit the county. The sheriffs and the DAs tomorrow, they can speak about the safety, but as far as the well-being, I think that's something that the judge can have influence on, and that gets back to the topics that I talked about earlier in my introduction. Prosperity. Without prosperity and economic activity, am I good? Okay. Without prosperity and economic activity in this county, we're not doing the right thing by the people that live and work here, nor the people that visit. The ranchers, the agricultural community, that gets back to the well-being as well. We need to support, promote, and do everything we can to strengthen that community. So, there's a lot of legalistic that you can speak about, but it all boils down to the safety and well-being of the people that are here in the county, and that's what I believe.
The authority of the county court or the governance of the county comes in 15 different departments. I spoke about earlier. Some of them do the tax and assessment, planning department, sheriff's department, road department, public health, the budget, the county landfill, county library, vital records held by the county clerk, voting, elections. Besides that, there's over 40 shared services we share with the state. And we do go out of town a lot, and we're going to those meetings to be involved there. If you don't go, you don't know. And if no one's going to let you, and every other county is looking for funds and help too. And even though we have good neighbors, not always they can tell you, but you may miss out on something. So you need to be there. Basically, the county court is the watchdog for the county and people.
Well, I'm just going to make it real simple. Our Declaration of Independence says the only purpose for civil government is to guarantee and protect your inalienable rights. And we are a form of civil government. That means that we have to have landfills so there's not garbage around. We have to have a health department so people can be taken care of. We have to have roads so that people can travel. And all those things are part of what protecting your civil rights entitled. The number one, biggest thing that the county court does is has to manage a large budget. And that takes a lot of time and work. And through that budget, you decide what programs are the most important and what ones need more funding and less funding. But without protecting your civil rights and your God-given rights, that's really the sole purpose of civil government.
From my understanding, our county government is the fiduciary and entity. The county government does all the taxation for the county. And we also provide and fund the services that are needed by the citizens in the county. The county judge is in control of the budget and expenditures that come from the budget. And that's the role of county government.
Okay, the county court is responsible, and pretty well everybody said the same thing about putting the budget together. We have basically three sources of funds. We have property taxes, we have the state revenue, the federal revenue, and that makes up our incoming revenue. With that, then we have to distribute to all the and in order for the county to continue on its past history of no debt, we have to manage those funds. And so that's done with this budgeting process. And I think that we all need to be on top of the budget. It is a little complex, but if you look into it and with a little explanation, most all of us can understand it. So in order to keep that budget going and affect the property tax, we need to have economic development. We can't continue to lose the businesses and so that are providing the taxes revenue, well, and the individuals too, and that goes out to your agriculture and everybody else. I was out there contributing in agriculture, we're still contributing with businesses in town, and so we need to have that tax revenue, but we need to support economic development, and we've been doing it. Oh, 30 seconds. Anyway, we need to do it. Ann and I have done that in the past. We plan on continuing to do it, and I will work to help our economic development area any way I can, and I don't object to going face to face. We went, and we've been doing this not quite 20 years, but about 17, 18 years ago, we went to Tulare to try to bring dairy. So we've been at it, and just didn't start yesterday.
What is your understanding of the revenue stream in the county organization?
I don't like going first. The source of revenue in the county is federal funds, state funds, and property taxes, from my understanding.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We have our fuel tax dollars go to the state and comes back. Our federal tax dollars goes to the federal government and comes back. But our local property taxes, they stay right there in the county. So that's still one that we actually have control over. The rest of them will kind of have to wait for get back to supposed to be ours.
The revenue stream, there's three sources, and it can be very complicated to figure out and follow and track. But your county tax dollars bring in approximately over 7 million of the funds from state sources, federal sources. Some grants come in, have to be administered by the county treasurer. It's very complicated, but without the outside sources coming in, and it's not be able to do that.
Yeah, and I'll just repeat that. It is state, federal, and the property taxes that we collect within the county. I believe that the revenue that comes in is about a little over 6 million. Of that, 2 million roughly from property taxes, 3 million from the feds, I believe, of which I believe 1 million is what we still receive in lieu of the timber receipts, and then the rest is made up of state.
I'm going to give a little analogy. I grew up on a farm milking cows. Have any of you ever milked cows? And you know we have a three-legged milk stool, and that's the way our budget is designed. If one of those legs is a little short, when you milk the cow, you kind of do some wiggling. And so we have federal funds, state funds, and local funds. They're all important. They all have a place. They all have certain laws and not regulations, but certain ways they can be spent. And if you don't have all three, the federal, state, and local, your milk stools go wobbly, and you end up in that place where the cows deposit the grass after they've eaten it.
County funds, the county budget is made up of several funds. I would like to talk about the general fund today. The general fund is actually day-to-day ongoing to the county, not talking about reserve fund. The general fund for this fiscal year was $7.5 million. The funding that brought up the general fund is about $2.1 million in property taxes for said. One thing that I've learned recently is that property tax, the average Oregon County only receives 17% of all property taxes paid. The rest goes to the school and the state. So we are very limited amount of property tax we receive. We do get $1 million in grants and funds from the state. We get $3 million from the federal government. Of that $3 million, like Forrest said, $1 million comes from payment in lieu of taxes. Currently, there's 4.7 million acres of federal land in Harney County, and that is basically tax, but it's not a tax, but the revenue we receive off that is 22 cents an acre, which would be 3 to 5 times less than what the private sector is taxed for a bare amount of acres. And the other one, to make up the difference of the 7.5, would be $1.4 million, and that comes from the reserve or the ending fund balance.
As I mentioned earlier, the silos funding comes in, as all mentioned, the three main types of income. The silos was going to come, and then the mandate goes along with them. Pretty well dictates where and how those funds are used. Mark's done a pretty good job on the general fund. This county has a pretty good reserve fund in the road department. We have funds set away in the building category for future development. One of the things that may be coming about in the near future is a new jail facility, which may be pretty, well, it will be expensive. We've looked into that in the past year. The allocation of funds, again, it is complicated, but it isn't overwhelmingly complicated. That's why we have the treasurer. The chief financial officer has been for the county judge, done an extremely good job of it in the past. Commissioners do not delve into the budget to that degree. Fortunately, we are more at liberty to get into the things that we have more interest in or more expertise in. But, the question of where the funding comes from is, as we've all heard from 3 different sources, that it can't be used solely for Hudson County Court, like I've heard here recently, because it is a campaign year. It's very regimented how it's done, so thank you much.
There's not a whole lot I can say that hasn't already been said by everybody. Our revenue stream is comprised of tax dollars from the federal, state, and local level. The state and federal tax dollars are monies that we've already paid that we get back. I think the real emphasis has to be on building prosperity in our county so that our property tax does add more to the revenue stream. So we generate some real wealth. Our land values go up. Maybe have more people living in the county, and in that way increase our revenue stream. Okay.
Thank you. Like Rob said, there's not a whole lot to add, but I do want to add something, and that is to our property taxes. We have a cap on our property taxes, so they can only be raised so much per year. It's not like when our
real estate values go zip through the ceiling, and all of a sudden our taxes go along with it. So there is a protection element there. And the other thing I would get back to is when I was talking about the tilt funds, whether or not they arrive in June. When it was first announced in the county court meeting that we were not going, or the rural school funds and the tilt money was in jeopardy, it was kind of my understanding that we were going to get the funds this year, but it was next year when we were really going to have a problem. That's $3.2 million. That's going to affect our road department 75% and our schools 25%. I think that's going to be a real issue, and we'll need the entire community to help with suggestions of how we make that happen. Thank you.
Anyway, I think most of it's already been said, but I will add this. There was mention of $7.5 million in the total budget, and if you add up the numbers, you come up with 6.1. That other 1.4 million that's in the annual budget is a term that's labeled beginning fund balance. Now that beginning fund balance is the amount that is remaining at the end of the previous fiscal year. Now, once that's spent, it's gone. It's not a renewable income stream. And so I would be very cautious about any spending of that. It's a nice cushion to have back, but to budget that amount, and I don't think presently that's done, but to use the 7.5 million, I think that's stretching the amount of the budget. I've had lots of experience with budgets. I like balanced budgets. I like ending fund balances from one year to move ahead to the next fiscal year, dollar for dollar. And so I think doing that, we keep a tight eye on our money and keep fiscally responsible. You want to pass it down to this next one?
If a new source were available, revenue source was available, what one area in the county services would you feel most needs additional resources?
Well, that's kind of a tough question. There's a lot that I need to learn about the government yet as far as the budget. I've gone through it. I haven't judged and discussed it. But as far as line items, I don't know that. I know that our road department is in good shape, although it's running on a skeleton crew and basically doing its minimum to keep everything at the level that it is. I guess I don't have a great answer for that until I sit down with the budget and actually start seeing where there are things needed and things that have some overreach.
Yeah, that's a tough one because every department could use it. Public health could use it for prevention. The more we can prevent, the more we can save down the road in long-term healthcare costs. Road department, the utmost importance. We have to have good roads to get our product out of Harney County and to the feedlots or to the dairies or wherever the product's going to go. Safety and security of the sheriff's department. 911. I can go on and on, but I'd say health, roads,
Well, if I'm just going off of where I believe we have some issues, it's in the 911 department. We're running a deficit, so we need to shore that up, as well as PERS. Hopefully, we can get those things fixed, and then when we do get that windfall, if that is a possibility, we can use it for some things that can move the county forward.
wow, that's like when you say grandma's gonna give you $1 million, how are you gonna spend it? I guess I come back to education. I would like to see, more services for our children. I would like to see more availability for all of us to do educational things, not just college, but adult education, lifelong learning. I think we need to make sure that our departments are running at their most efficient and that we are doing the best that we can with the dollars that we each receive in the departments. But if we did get a big windfall, I think that we have to ask you, the people that live here, what is your need? What do you foresee that you should spend this money on? Because I have a personal belief in education, but we may need to spend it on something else. Roads, electricity, food security, public health. Those are all important to the community, and I think it would take a good look and a response from you, the people, to hear what the money should be spent for.
If we were receiving extra source of funding, where would it go? Like many of the candidates said before me, the county budget is what I can see split out evenly, but if I'd have to pick one, I'd have to pick PERS. PERS has been a big drain on the county budget. If you look back at the audit in 2012, 2013, compared to the current year now, we received actually close to $2 million less in funding from all three sources. So the county's done a great job in continuing to maintain the services that we expect and we demand with a limited budget. And pretty soon we're going to get into a situation where we can't continue to offer the same services with less money. So we get an extra funding source. I'd like to see it go to continue to offer the same services they are. And again, I can say your market for PERS because that's been the number one drain that I believe was needed.
The county should get a new source of funding with no encumbrances. I think I would propose what we've always done with it. And take a look at what is a necessity, what has to be done that we may not be able to afford at the moment. And that's quite frankly very few things. This county is very fiscally sound. I think we would probably look quite hard at putting it away in a reserve fund of some sort. Anytime we get a windfall, instead of looking for a place to spend your money, we understand the world is changing. And we put those dollars away where we can in the road department, the building fund, places that's fairly liquid can be moved around, but places that we know absolutely there's going to be costs incurred to this community in the future. It would take additional tax dollars to resolve for the benefit of this community. Instead of running out willy-nilly looking for a place to spend it, we tuck it away safely to use in a cheaper and prudent manner that it's the way it should be used. So that's what I would do with it.
One idea that I propose, if we had some new source of funding in some indeterminate amount, and as Mr. Nichols said, right now the county is pretty fiscally sound. One area that I think we could maybe have an addition would be in the form of a natural resources advisory department. We have an economic development department. Judge Grassley said at several county meetings that the amount of NEPAs that they get from federal agencies is 6 to 12 inches thick per year. It's more than one person can look through. And as agriculture is the biggest industry in the county and is very reliant on public use land, I think it would be a good idea to have someone in the county employed that could go through those types of documents and alert the county court if there was anywhere where it needed to protect the citizens' rights.
I guess if I had a windfall of money to spend, I would look at where it's already been spent. And that takes us back to PERS. I don't know how many of you are aware that there was a lawsuit at the state level where the state was trying to pull back on the PERS system and what they were already committed to, and they lost that lawsuit. So the county's going to have to come up with a lot of money on that issue. And the other thing is we have health insurance issues with the staff on the county level. where there's going to be more expenses. The other thing would be law enforcement and safety in that order. So anyway, yes, I would say if it's already spent, I don't know if you know that we've asked the county employees to all take 5 days furlough for the year now because of these issues I just brought up. And so we need to even out some expenses that are already done.
I'd like to get one of those checks personally sometime. But anyway, along this line here, first off, I have no problem with the talk about PERS. I've been looking into, there is a line item in the budget that says PERS reserve, but we had a reserve build up and then it went somewhere. But there is a line item in 1415 that has PERS reserve, and I wasn't able to track it through to find out where it went. The line I looked at was negative $440 some thousand at the end of that fiscal year. But I wouldn't, to use it to backfill, I think I'd rather find out what the problem was and take care of the problem. I think Dan had a good idea. We should put some back, but we should also maybe invest some in cost-saving improvements. I don't remember the year, but I went to the courthouse. There were single-pane windows. I suggested that why, and they said, well, we don't have the money. Well, I found out how much it was going to cost. We had about $90,000. We put in 3 sides of single-pane windows. That's cost-saving. Now, we have some more improvements that are being done in the heating system. So things like that we could do that would benefit long-term by investing that money in something that will return the money back to us. If we have to do other things, economic development could return funds to us. So if there's things that we can do in our economic development with that money to assist companies in Harney County already or ones that want to come in. So we could use that money there, and I think it would be beneficial.
I would use that money. There's all kinds of areas that we could use that money for education and enrollment system. And I believe that the best return on money would be to include some type of training or a school perhaps in the Harney counties that would, with the creation of jobs and skill training, that would bring more money back into the budget.
Okay, next question. What are the major expenses in the county organization?
Major expenses. Two that are coming at us real soon and that we're going to deal with in the budget next year, more so next year, but we're already looking at the thing, is the SERS lawsuit that settled in favor of the employees. It's going to hit us hard and healthcare costs. Those are the two major ones coming at us that we're already planning for, and have to see how we're going to go at it. And as in any budget, you have wages escalating, you have income not keeping up. So, I think the wages for well, if I would speak to the major department, the largest department would probably be the road department, as far as the largest expense on the budget, and then across the entire county, I would probably say labor, and labor to include benefits and all those things.
When we look at the budget, OPE, the health insurance for retirement, that's always the major cost for our employees. Also, the road department, we live in a big county with lots of roads. That takes a lot of money And public safety is one of the big revenues.
What I believe the major funds or major expenses for the county, found in a fiscal summary, object classification, personnel for the current budget, 7 million. Material services for 6.16 million. Capital outlay is 1.5 million. Debt service is 0. Interfund transfers to 500,000. Contingencies is 345,000. Special payments is 1.1. Leaving an unappropriated any fund balance of 14.3 for a total budget of 31,161,000.
What was the question again? Pretty interesting, all this information coming out of it. Yeah, please. Okay. Major expense is personnel, just like a ranch. Major expense on a ranch is feeding the cattle. Same thing within the county structure. With that said, I want to emphasize the fact that this county has 0 indebtedness. I think we're the only county in the state that has 0 indebtedness. We do not owe anybody. We've been fiscally responsible for decades in this community. It's carried on in this county court. I'm sure it will carry on in the future. That's what Harney County is. Again, having said personnel is the largest expense, personnel in this community, due to the budget board and the county court, has taken no COLA increases several times in the past year. They went along with the reduction in health insurance, down to the health savings account individually. They've taken the burden upon themselves as people and taken responsibility to Harney County to lessen the debt load and decrease the amount of dollars going into personnel. So all in all, again, there's been some good things happening. Always looking towards something else that we could look to. As Steve alluded to, PERS is an issue. It's an upcoming issue. It's something that comes from elsewhere that we will deal with. We will deal with it in the best manner that we possibly can with the interest of Harney County and the taxpayers in mind when we do it.
All as has been said, personnel and the services provided to them, healthcare benefits and PERS are the major expenses. Pretty straightforward question. That's more accurate.
Me neither. Yes, if in any business, it would be wages, benefits, and retirement, and health.
Well, obviously, it's the personnel. My only comment there is I realize that, PERS is going up. From a personal standpoint, when we see our healthcare going up, we do some shopping around. I am not privileged at this time to know if the county has done that. I assume that they have, to seek the best that's out there for our county employees to make that decision for the greater group of the county employees. So I think that, by working on those, we had a PERS reserve, and maybe if that's an ongoing issue now, it looks like it's resurfaced. So we might ought to look into what we can do to start that PERS reserve back up again so that we don't get bitten on any one year with a great increase.
Somebody had great answers to this question. It's pretty straightforward. And our major expenses in Harney County are personnel and healthcare, the road department, and these ones that are running us into a deficit or that are a struggle to keep afloat. And I believe that we should look at ways to create revenue for them.
I don't know which is worse, going first or last. The first, you haven't had time to think about it, and last, there's nothing more to say. As a small business owner, when I started my business, it was me and a handful of tools. And at the end of the first year, we had somewhere around 50,000 gross receipts, which was adequate. We survived, by the time you take expenses out. Now I have several employees, and our grocery receipts last year were somewhere closer to $500,000, and still we end up with the same amount of money. So I understand that in budgeting, every time things change, it comes back. The minimum wage thing that just happened, I'm not sure exactly how that's going to affect us, but it's going to affect us. Everything's going to get more expensive. Our employees are, that's always the number one in most businesses. That's your biggest expense, is trying to figure out how to pay your employees, and that has to be done. No business survives if they don't pay their employees. So that's the biggest expense that we have to deal with, and that's going to be an ongoing and upcoming problem that we're going to deal with.
What do you see as the most pressing needs for infrastructure or capital projects within the county?
Well, there's a lot, but if I were to say as far as infrastructure, I guess fiber optics is an opportunity for us, depending on and how we take it on. But our infrastructure, I think, I don't know how well we've invested in it over the past, but we need to start investing in our infrastructure so that we can solicit some of those companies, businesses, expand some of those businesses we have, and create some of the opportunities as far as jobs and the like. So as far as the largest pressing need or largest opportunities that I would see is fiber optics, because we have it, we're not using it. And then just begin a process of upgrading our infrastructure as we get businesses interested, or if we get businesses that are here locally that want to expand. And I know that that's an issue. We had that issue with our building, and there's other issues right now that are currently happening, and they're not being addressed.
When we look at the infrastructure for the county, it's different than the cities. But I would say that, as Forrest mentioned, it's a new world and we need to have better internet connection here throughout the county. Many of the South End people still have satellite internet, or they sit, I know that the 4-H kids often sit at the courthouse and download lots of things on their electronic devices before they go home. So I think that's a possibility for that. Also, once again, the roads, this is a big county. We have a lot of roads that we need to always maintain, and we've been unfortunate or lucky in that the snow removal has been not as great as it is some other years, and our electricity needs to be maintained as well.
Infrastructure and capital outlay, I kind of like to tie the two together, think outside the box a little bit here. One of the things that I think is impeding growth in Harney County is not having natural gas. I'd like to see maybe the county try to go after the regular right-of-ways that are left out there, to try to find out a way to have a right-of-way, to try to get major infrastructure in here. So when the opportunity does arise, we have to fix that in our favor, so we could have a natural gas pipeline and some of this form of major infrastructure come through. I don't think they take a whole lot of capital outlay, but we got to do more research on it.
Infrastructure, once again, comes back to the necessity pending that we're going to have to do something with the jail. That's a requirement. The other huge concern is the road system. We have an excellent road system in Harney County. Secure rural schools, after the loss of course receipts, has been funding the road department. Every year there's fear that that funding stream will disappear. Every year it's reenacted from the congressional level, thank goodness. With the county jail and that facility, the necessity of that, unfortunately, and the road department is two of the most important infrastructures that we have. That would be the largest expenditures in infrastructure in the near future. I guess that's pretty much it.
I would really like to see high-speed internet available countywide because of its uses in education and business opportunities, and also our current road section needs to continue to be maintained and improved.
I think broadband is absolutely crucial for the future of Harney County. So you're asking for the most pressing needs. I think communications overall. I know that a radio does not fit under our government standards, but we need to provide tax benefits or whatever we really miss our radio. So I think communications and broadband. We did have a company that lays the fiber optics visit our community just a couple of weeks ago, and they are willing, anytime a street is open, like the new HVAC system that's going between the courthouse and Slater School, anytime something is open like that, they want to be able to lay that line, and they would help pay for that.
Thanks, Steve. Anyway, for our infrastructure, I have no problem with the roads. In fact, when we first went out on Weaver Springs with our A operation, we had a gravel road there, and you didn't have to move the steering wheel to turn an 18-wheeler sideways in the road because there was work for it. Now, I'm not saying that was the road department's fault because there was so much traffic on it, and once it got dry, it was going to happen regardless how hard they worked. But by putting together the information and going to the county court moved that road up, and we got that road paved. And so I believe in the road department and keeping that up, because since then there's been a lot of field put in out on Weaver Springs. Then the other thing is, I haven't got all the documentation on it yet. I'm trying to get more. It's my understanding that Facebook made an inquiry in here for a data center, not a call center, but a data center. And there were a couple of reasons that I've heard why it was not able to come here. And so my question today that I'm working on is why it couldn't come here. My understanding is that it's in Prineville now. Now, one of the ones that I heard was that it was a power cost. Okay, and I'm familiar with power costs because I tried to put a house someplace in. $66,550 for residential service was just out of my budget. And so I realized that there's rules that are in existence for your co-op areas, because I had one number from the co-op area that I was in, that's one I just gave you. I could have gotten it for a lot less from the other co-op, but I wasn't in their territory. So is that the end of me? Anybody wants more? I'll answer it.
I see pressing needs in our infrastructure, being roads to, promote commerce and to getting our products in and out of the county. I also believe that technology is a big thing that we need to concentrate on. I believe it's already been started within the city. The education that we bring our children is also very important to bring sustainability and to encourage the future of our county and our individuals too.
The main infrastructure in and out of our county is not actually county deal. We have Highway 20, 395, and the state highways and whatnot. It's not our deal. As far as the county roads, we have some of the best county roads, really. I mean, drive around Nevada, other places for a while. You'll be glad to be back to Harney County. We're doing a good job on our roads. And if you don't like washboards, live somewhere where it rains where you can do it. As far as the internet goes, I've been giving it a lot of thought and researching, and without a railroad coming in and we don't have mines and raw materials here other than timber, which is a different subject, but we need to get small fields, and very few businesses can survive in this day and age without good internet. And if we had good internet, if it was more easily, you could hook up to easier and less expensively. We could have IT jobs here, like the call center thing and whatnot. And that's a real option that we need to look at as county government.
I'd say most pressing need, I think, infrastructure in the county is the thing that slams the door shut in our face every time for economic development, or if we see a business in that rail or freeway. And we know that is something that's not going to happen anytime soon. The broadband opportunity we have now, we can pursue that a lot more. That can bring in a call center, something we can handle, versus a data center. You have more jobs in the call center than the data center. And for data centers, back to Kirk's comment, there's a lot of water used for cooling towers, and we all know what last year was like, and we're not out of that. That's a whole other issue to talk about. So, fiber optics, broadband, and then we can bring in businesses that can manufacture products that can be shipped out, UPS, FedEx, not the big do that.
How would you encourage building and development in the county? How would you encourage building and development in the county?
We live in the United States and we live in the state of Oregon, and there are certain regulations and mandates that come from them that regulate our building and our inspections and the codes that we build by. That's for the protection of all of us. You know, there's been a lot of economic development that's been tried in this county, and not very many of them are found to be financially profitable. I think that as a county court, we have a limited amount of ability to do that, but I think that our main goal or our main responsibility is helping to encourage and smooth the way for those new businesses so that they will be profitable and that they will be able to be of economic benefit to us here in the county. And I think that that's a real role that we can serve. I know, having been to some Oregon County Association meetings, it's an opportunity to promote Harney County, talk about the wonderful things that are here, the people and the skills that are here, and try to find those businesses that would fit to bring that economic development here to the county.
Economic development, my belief on economic development. First of all, economic development needs to stem from the private sector. What county government can do to help that come from the private sector, I believe, are many ideas. One, we need to do a better job of telling our story. We need to tell our story about how we want to live, the quality life that we have in agriculture and in the city. We want to show people why they want to live here and do a better job of telling our story. Our current county judge has said that many times. We need to tell our story better, and I agree with that. The other things, I think we should take roadblocks and hurdles out of the way. We can reduce taxes for them to get here so we can create jobs. Once we create jobs, we'll get more income in here. Then once they become stable, then we can start increasing the taxes back to our normal level where the county gets more benefit from it. But I honestly believe the majority of economic development has to come from the private sector, and the local county government will be taking the hurdles and obstacles out of the way.
Yeah, I agree. Economic development has been first and foremost in the line of everybody in this community for years. There's been several things tried. There's been a huge effort from many people in the community. It is not county government responsibility to be in charge of economic development, but we are engaged immensely. We have enterprise zones. We've had the dog and pony shows, the various corporations. But again, it's a community. It's hard it's hard to describe to other people what Harney County is like. We've had a lot of people in the past come in thinking of putting business here. For one reason or another, they chose not to. Won't go into those reasons. They're valid reasons. Most people don't come from the community even remotely like this. One of the first questions asked is, where's the nearest strip mall? Well, it's 120 miles this way or 120 miles this way. And if you happen to have a wife with you, she says, let's go here. As ridiculous as that sounds, that is the reality of economic development in Harney County. Now, we get hammered all the time. Some people want growth, some people want none. There has to be enough critical mass within the community to maintain the infrastructure here and a quality of life that we all enjoy. There's been, like I said, there's been a tremendous amount of effort put into economic development over the past few years. And one of the things that we as a community need to do is speak positively everywhere we go about this community. And we, as a county court, have done that. It's a privilege and an honor to go places and to say, I'm from Harney County. And people anymore, so they don't go, where's Harney County? They go, really? We've heard about you. And it was not because of the budget, I'll guarantee you. They have brought a lot of attention in the last year, but we have received national attention, people, from what this community has done. And we will continue to look at options into the future. This isn't an easy sell, but the right people will come along to like our style of life and the way we live here, and will contribute in the future.
I agree with the previous two speakers. I believe it's private enterprise's job to take care of building development, but I do think county government can eliminate some of the hurdles and make it harder to develop in Harney County. I think we could do that by empowering our government officials. An example I've used for that is we have a building inspector in Harney County who's highly qualified, and I was talking with a person who was trying to do some building, had a permit. They were told they needed X amount of sheetrock, and the inspector didn't feel comfortable doing that inspection, so he called someone from Salem. They came in and said that wasn't enough sheetrock. Instead of 90% of that inspection fee staying in Harney County and 10% going to Salem, it was the other way around. So I think we could empower our government officials to use their good sense and their training that they have and make authoritative calls and then stand behind them. I also think we could encourage building and development by starting to explore how we can further utilize our natural resource systems.
Encouraging building and development is in the planning and zoning department. Mary Otley just put an addition on her house. She had over $10,000 in permit fees for a one-room addition. I think we need to do some problem solving. And that's the way I see planning and zoning. I think many years ago when we set up the planning and zoning, it was intended to be restrictive. And it has hurt some of our smaller communities where we can only put a store in one place, or in one area, and you're bound by that. If you want to put a store in that area, you might have to buy a piece of property that has a leaky fuel tank on it from years and years and years ago, and you don't know what you're getting in with the EQ. So I think we need to change some things or look really hard at planning and zoning and make it more landowner friendly. We need landowners to have control of their property. And they need to be able to do things at a cost that is affordable or just practical. Thank you.
I'm going to refrain from speaking to planning and zoning because of personal problems, but I will address the economic development, and comments were made about hurdles and roadblocks, and I think in some of my communications out there somewhere, or to come yet, I brought up the streamlining of that process. And I'm trying to think of which day it was. It was one of the days last week. I got a phone call from a gentleman, and he was referred to me by Mr. Andy Root. He called Andy trying to buy the property that they're going to build a new building on, and was turned down. And Andy said to call me. I talked with him. We had a letter of interest, and the realtors are working together on that right as we speak. But one of the things that came up in this letter of interest was that they already knew that it was 4 to 6 months, a 4 to 6 month process to get the permitting and things into construction. If many people that are interested in moving ahead, that's too long. We need to work on that streamlining. And, you know, the one that's coming in here that's talking with me, I give it a 1 in 20 chance right now, but maybe I'll get 19 more and I'll get one of those. But we need to have the ability, and part of that is the electric service, and there's ways maybe that we can approach that and get better electric service available for our incoming businesses.
My idea is on encouraging building and economic development in Harney County. I think we should look at or encourage as a county court different things to use these resources that we already have here, such as cattle or, you know, whatever kind of logging you can do in the community. And somebody suggested to me that as a county court that we could work on like a feedlot or some type of meat processing plant here in Harney County that would utilize what we already have here. And I really think that we can look at the resources that we have here, and we can develop those to bring more income into the county.
When government does what it's supposed to do, it does it very well. You know, Sheriff's Department, Public Safety, Roads, they do a very good job on that. When they try to do things that isn't their job, they don't do worth crap. And economic development is not their job, and neither is stopping economic development. So, in my experience as starting a business and growing a business right here in Harney County, and trying to build, every time you have to do something, you have to go through county government and the state stuff and all that stuff going on. And it gets so frustrating. You just figure out how to not do it. And that needs to change, because the business wanting to come in is going to need a building. They're not going to do it just around the campfire. And they need to be able to do what they need to be able to do efficiently. And that's how we can help as county government. As far as small business development and stuff, I never saw that was anything but a waste of time.
I would encourage economic building and development a few ways. The Allen County economy is a must. So you have people that are encouraged by what the county stands for. I would sell what we have, the people, the land, the open spaces. I would push for a smooth planning process through the building codes, building departments, the infrastructure, power. And I would encourage folks to be here, for what we have, you know, for who we are, and for why we're here. And we are the best salesmen. If we could offer some taxing things, or find a way to do that, I would do that. I would encourage that. I would look at every angle. For those that, there's a larger corporation, they're going to be residents, they're going to be paying taxes, they're going to buy houses, they're going to pay into the economy in different ways. That will pay itself back in another way.
I'll stand up for this one. That's a good question, finally. I mean, the drink's a little bit dry. Okay, so, there's a bunch of different ways we can do this, but the bottom line is we need to get started. So we can go out and get some businesses to come in here and promote what we have to offer, because there's people that want what we have to offer. We can expand some of the existing businesses we have, because we have some good businesses that want to expand and have attempted to expand, but haven't had the success with the county. We can talk to people that are in business currently or doing things that we want done, like, I don't know, renovating buildings. We can do that. Unfortunately, what happens is things just get stopped, right? We talk a lot and we do very little. I can tell you from personal experience that I personally told the county court people about certain things that are happening in our community and certain business development activities and some hurdles that they've run into. I can tell you as of today, that individual, and it's not me, but that individual has not heard from a single person within the county. We need to stop saying, we don't want this type of business. We don't want this business because it's too big and it's going to change our way of life. Guess what? If we don't start getting some prosperity, some economic activity in the county, the way of life is going to continue to deteriorate. You want your neighbor to have a job. You want your neighbor to have a good job. You also want opportunities for your kids to come back to, your grandkids to come back to. And if we don't stop talking, but start doing something to get some economic activity by talking to those people that are in business and being successful, we're not going to have those opportunities for your kids.
Okay, so I know this has gone on for quite a while, so that was actually our last question. So at this time, I would like to offer you guys a time for a closing statement. You can have up to 3 minutes for a closing statement to then summarize. I gotta shake my head there. Anyway, to summarize or go ahead and share any message you would like at this time. Go ahead and start with Mark.
Okay, sounds great. I was a little nervous for my introduction. I forgot to say a few things, so we'll start there. Currently, farm training, we have a custom made farming business where we employ 4 full-time employees and 6 or 7 part-time employees through the summer. We're also involved in the pesticide operation where we have 30 plus part-time employees for 8 weeks out of the year. We also do some custom farming and management for 3 or 4 different farms. Economic development has been crucial to me personally and our family and our success in Harney County. And even though I believe we need to come from private industry on the economic development, I think, like I said earlier, we need solid stories, we need solid quality of life. Like Floyd said, we can have room for change and still protect the quality of life that we have. I would like to see a balanced approach in economics. Just like in all things in life, we can't go under one and we have to have a balance. So I'd recommend we get a 2-phase approach. We can increase our natural resources in agriculture. So the use of a natural resource is the creation of a new dollar. A new dollar is not a recycled dollar, and that is what is making income for our county. Last year, agriculture brought in $89 million into the county, and I'd like to see that continue to grow. And the only way we can continue that to grow is to be using that resource to create a new dollar. Also for the city and county burdens, I'd like to see how we can create more jobs. Because not everybody's going to work into agriculture. We'll need a place where we can come in town and work on a fair wage and support a job. One thing that we've struggled with as a business is healthcare, trying to compete with the state. With my last employer, I heard off from the state, and I had to guarantee them that I could pay the same thing the state was, and also give them the same benefits the state was giving us. I think one of the things that we fight in agriculture and in town is how we provide healthcare for our employees on a private industry. I think that's something we need to look at. Maybe we can form a co-op on whole county, do some bargaining power to find where we can provide healthcare. Because I don't believe you can offer a job to a family without offering healthcare to young people. And the way we need to make economic prosperity in the county is providing jobs where people want to stay and people can stay because they're making enough money. Also, this is something that might be a little controversial with agriculture. I believe we need to promote tourism. Tourism is regeneration of a dollar, but a lot of our businesses down Main Street depend on tourism. And I think we can do a better job of selling our story that we actually want people to come out to our public lands. We don't want privatization of our public lands. They are public lands, and we want to protect footnotes. We want the betterment of multi-use public lands. And by encouraging the public to come out there and share those lands with us, that we are the best stewards of, and have been the best stewards of for many generations, we can promote tourism, which will help the city, will help businesses in town, and also sell our story that we are the best stewards of our land.
This is a job interview, and as I told you in my beginning statement, it took me a long time to finally come up and decide to run again. I do it gladly, I do it with anticipation. It's up to you, the voters, which way you want to go. I haven't said much over the years. There's a lot of things said every time there's a candidates forum. Rob asked the question, how do you want positive change? Well, everybody raise their hand. Well, guess what? I don't. I do. Everybody does. It's ridiculous to think that we don't. We work towards that constantly. Again, this is job interview. I worked for 19 years within organizations, started with Farm Bureau, local, state. I was appointed by the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture to the Oregon State ASCS committee, served on that for 4 terms. I came back, served on the local ASCS board, which is now SSA. Then I was approached to run as county commissioner, and it kind of overwhelmed me. I go, wow, me? And I thought, well, yeah, I spent 19 years doing other things outside of this community. For the past 20 years, I have worked solidly for this community in a variety of ways, from the education to the public health realm. The last couple of years, we've been focusing on the natural resource side. That is a major industry to us. From the development of the natural resource and the tourism, the recreation aspect, it helps the infrastructure of downtown Burns and Harney. It helps our school district. We continue to work for economic development in the industrial segment. Anybody that is interested in Harney County, we absolutely speak to them. We offer them tax incentives. We offer them reduction in regulation. It's a difficult road to hoe to get people to come into this community. Not impossible, but difficult. We have worked on the intention of jobs and businesses in our community. We will continue to do that. And it is not just the county court doing it. The county court has a very small part in it. It is viewing the community. It is the biggest instigator and the biggest promoter. And it has to come from this community as well. That's why I have been very proud to have served as your commissioner for the past 20 years. It's up to you how much change you want into the future. Thank you very much.
I don't have a long, very closing statement. I didn't know you'd be giving me an opportunity to give one. To be real honest, I don't feel like this selection of questions tonight was the best job I could have done in showcasing the skill set that I do believe that I bring to the commission. I said in my opening remarks, I do believe very strongly with the role of government to protect the rights of individuals. And I believe that they can exert a lot of influence, and maybe now is the time that we need to think outside the box. Being stuck inside the parameters and hitting walls when we try to protect some of those rights, and we need to think a way around it. It's hard for me to understand why sometimes we're told that we can't do things in our own backyard. And so I would be very interested in exploring options and ways for us to get through that. I really would like to see action and would be a man of action. I like to keep things simple and not convoluted, not lots of meetings. It seems like keeping it simple when you see the best answer, that's the way to go. It's also come to my attention the last couple of weeks, there are a lot of misconceptions about me and my stances around the community. I know I may not be really well known in the community because I mostly like to just stay out of town and not show my face in town. But I am surely open if anyone would like to give me a call or question me after this to ask about my stance, and you might be surprised what you find. I do absolutely insist that I am a proponent of positive things to this county and will work very hard for you and would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
I want to thank you all for being here tonight and showing an interest in your county government and your self-preservation. I also want to thank these people on this panel who have come up here and alongside me and are asking for your vote tonight. We need to keep this energy going. I think this is the most people that have ever been running for office in Harney County. And so what I would like to propose is to keep the channels of communication open between the county and you as citizens and the people on this panel. So if elected, I would propose and facilitate the establishment of a Commissioners Associate Circle. This proposal will include bi-monthly training opportunities and an email forum of commissioner notes and discussion. The Associate Circle would be open to anyone, but today's candidates would be especially encouraged to join and provide leadership roles. So, since I'm not a commissioner, and I can't do that right now, I intend to reinstate my blog, thefuzzleflat.com, and the candidates associate circle. And I have a sign-up sheet over there on the table. If you would put down your name and email address, I'll let you know as we're set up. We already have the basic setup, and it's just a matter of updating. So anyway, with that, I would say that I feel like I have been working and representing you in my own way for the last 9 years, and I would like to continue to do so. Thank you.
Okay, Ann and I forgot to introduce her, so I'll get chastised for that. Our fight back here in the corner of 52 years, and we've gone through a lot side by side. Anyway, we've been active in economic development for many years in this community, and we will be active continuing forward with or without this position because we love Harney County and you're stuck with us. Anyway, one of the things that we brought into this, and when we brought it in, I got a call from Don Lasley with Agonado down out of Lakeview, Christmas Valley. He said, Herb, is it time to bring one to Harney County? And I said, I believe so. I said, what do you need? He says, I need a facility. Anyway, he wanted to rent. I looked around. There wasn't anything that was available that would fit his needs to rent. And so Ann and I went out and actively sought the facility that now is S&S Equipment. As I was approaching that, and this was before Randy's time, so I want to make that known that I went to the economic development person at that time and said, okay, we're looking at bringing this in, what's available for us? I was told nothing. There's nothing available to help you. We went ahead, we brought it in. Mr. Lasley has since sold all three to SS and Equipment. It's still out there, it's still ongoing. So I say, we're at it. I mentioned one that we're working on now. It might not come through, but we'll keep working. And I would appreciate if you think I can do the job, your write-in vote, because it's a real challenge to do a write-in, but we're taking it on. Thank you.
Well, if I was elected to your Harney County Commissioner said, I would be looking and asking questions of you, the citizens, to make positive changes or decisions that are going to affect the future of Harney County. I really just want to see sustainability in the future for the people that live here. And I can't do that without you and the team that we would have on the commission. And so I thank you for your vote, and I just hope that we can make amazing things happen here, so that we all have a survival and a growth and prosperity to it, no matter how we do it. And I'm going to be listening to you guys to help you do that. Thank you.
Well, I'm not really a public speaker that much, and I kind of struggle with it, and I kind of had cold feet when it got started, so there was things I forgot to mention and forgot to say, and now might be too late to have said it, but I have a family, and you know, I love Harney County. I love this area. I love the Great Basin, the desert, high sagebrush. And I look at my family growing up, and you know, my oldest daughter's halfway there now. There's nothing here for her. You know, there's nothing to make her want to stay, and I don't want her to stay if there's nothing here. And I want to see some of those changes happen in Harney County. I want to see a place where people want to come to. And I mean, that sounds great. That's what everybody wants. How do you make that happen? I'm not really sure. This is things that we have to work through. There's going to be a learning curve, and I know that. I don't have all the answers for you. I am smart enough to be able to find answers and figure it out and surround myself with people that have answers. I have been asked to do things in my life, and when I feel it's the right thing, I just do them, and I make them work. And sometimes I'm totally lost, quite frankly. I felt I was called to go to Africa as a missionary. I never dreamt of ever doing anything like that. I showed up in Africa, I can't speak the language, I don't know how to get through it. I said, God, lead me. And he did. And he will for all of us. And we need to turn back to God, really. That needs to be a focus of all of us, because we've got some serious problems in our country. Harney County is our home, and we can work here. So we have big problems. And so that being said, I don't want to preach a sermon. I'm not very good at that either. But I want the best team of leaders for Harney County. And if you feel that I would be a good member of that team, I would be willing and happy to serve you. I am not seeking this position for financial gain. This will actually hurt my business. It will make it less money for me, most likely. But I want to serve the people of Harney County. And if you want me to serve you, I would be happy to do that for you. Thank you.
So I too would like to serve this county. I've served the county in different ways for the last 30 plus years in different boards and programs and fun things and some unfun things. I also need to recognize my wife, who's worked me all the time, and she's behind me if I'm out of town for meetings. She's down covering the store, and then going to her job. Some of you are asking, I know what about the store. The store is up for sale, and we'll aggressively be moving it, trying to move it. There's once I hope they land this seat. There will be no time for that. I would like to be in the rural communities, the county court in a work session once a month. Put us in each rural community twice a year. Reach out to the communities to see what we're missing. And we can't be everywhere. It's troublesome to hear that there are issues, but people don't bring the issues to us, we can't fix it. The door will always be open, as it is now. But communication is a top priority for all of us. We need to keep telling the story of the best stewards of the land, and that's the ranchers. I sat on a basic working group, and say that the perception of the rancher out there, that their cows run loose every day and graze and eat this and eat this, and this is a smart horse advocate who would have absolutely backed it. But that story needs to continue to be told, and why this land looks like it is, has and is, and will continue to be, because of the great stewards of land we have here. And we have to face the fact that times have changed
and modernization has eliminated a lot of jobs. We have to find the businesses and the jobs that fit in our area now. I can deal with the public, I can deal with employees. I have done it for many years. I have probably had little turnover, and there's a way that happens. It's being a good person, it's being upfront with people, it's being true to yourself. And I thank you all for coming out tonight, and I appreciate your support.
I kind of gave you a little intro to me at the beginning as far as where I grew up and some of the different things that I did. One of the things that I didn't share with you was that over the course of the last 20 years, I've coached at various levels in various sports. And so if any of you have ever coached middle school boys, it's one of the toughest groups of people, kids, young adults, to get moving in the same direction. But I've done that over the course of my professional career in different roles, whether it be in corporations and running businesses, like I said. And I see in this community huge opportunity just in what we have currently as far as vacant buildings, activities that we could have. And I see opportunities outside of our community that we would love to have come here. There are communities in this state alone that want what we have, used to have what we have, but urban sprawl has kind of affected their way of life. Those businesses that are in those communities, I would love to see come here and set up shop. I've talked about wanting to support and strengthen the agriculture community, and I would do nothing if I was judged to affect them in any way negatively. I would love to see businesses come here that would support them. I want to see in Harney County prosperity again. I've heard it, I don't know how many times from Roger, my father-in-law, as far as when the mill was here. And I'm not saying bring back the mill, but I'm saying bring back the prosperity. And it's not just for the people that are in this room right now. It's for your kids. Travis, stand up. This is my middle son who made, you can stay standing, who made a grand entrance with his baseball cleat while we were speaking. And it's not about Jen and I and what can happen for us. It's what can happen for Travis. He loves ranching. He goes out to Roaring Springs and gets on a horse and spends 12 hours on a horse and loves it. I want that opportunity for him. He wants to come back to Harney County. If his brothers want to come back to Harney County, if your kids want to come back to Harney County, if they're off at college right now and they want to come back, I want there to be opportunities for them. And I believe if I am elected judge, I can help make that happen. I hope for your support. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you for coming this evening. It's a little chilly in here, so I'll keep my remarks short so we can all go home and camp in front of our wood stoves. I am running for county commissioner, and I believe that my experience as a good citizen of this community, serving on many volunteer boards, and being a good, responsible financial experience and taking good care of the money for the different boards that I serve on shows that I have the skills and ability to do this job. I think that the past years in my professional and personal life shows that I can listen and make the best decision for all of us. If I did what was best for me, it wouldn't be the best for all of us. And I've seen that many times in my professional life and in my family life, that you look at all the points and you make the best decision for all of us. I think it's important that we continue to promote the culture and the way of life that we have here in Harney County. It's a wonderful place to raise our children, and it's a place that we'd like to have our children all come back to. I believe in education for all of us. I believe that Our role is to keep the budget balanced and to help new economic development come to the county. And I also believe that it takes each one of us talking and working together to make this a better place for all of us. And I would appreciate your support. I'm available to listen. And thank you for coming once again tonight, and have a good evening.
All right, so that is the conclusion of our evening. So thank you everybody for showing up. The candidates seem like they are willing to stick around for a little bit, so there is time to socialize for a bit if you would like. And again, thank you very much.